Gravesy, you remember this place?
Yeah.
Graduation?
Yeah.
I was also thinking
It's
about
cool,
some of the other
yeah.
things we've done as well, which
Yeah.
with the BBC, like Abbey Road, sprung to mind with the strings.
Oh, yeah. That was good. That suit was like, I would have worn something different if I could look back right now. I could still do a suit. I just wouldn't have done that exact lapel situation.
But talk about like really putting yourself on the line with that, you know. I mean, that was, you know, so early on for you to be stepping in a room with that many players and that kind of, just give yourself that objective. I mean, what are your thoughts when you think back about Abbey Road with the strings? It's just nuts.
I thought it was good. I thought it was what I was supposed to do at that time.
Yeah.
You know, if I see something, I see an opportunity, I'm going to go for it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We only, you know, we're all going to die one day.
Yeah, it's true.
So we live like that. Live like you could die tomorrow. You know, go for it. You know, those steps have would have allowed that. Those steps have been the you know, the platforms that allowed me to make it this far.
Yeah. And you have, man, and we're here. And, you know, 6 albums, original albums of your own, a Throne record, various records with good music to talk about, man. But seriously, Yeezus, bravo, dude. I mean, that is one of the most creative records of, you know, of any genre I've heard in a very, very long time. And, you know, just in terms of your output, your most exciting sounding record, I think, man.
Oh, thank you very much.
You know?
Yeah, I feel, you know, I was able to start just making exactly what was in my mind again. And not having to speak with the textures of the time. Because, you know, Cruel Summer is definitely Kanye West, and there's something kind of weird and off about Mercy, like when it has the high pitch, that type of sound. It sounds like art still a little bit, even though it's obviously was a radio smash. But it's still, when I, you know, get into the idea like the trap drums and things like that, are certain, you know, songs that are blatant, you know, radio hits. It's like I'm speaking with today's textures, and that's, you know, and if you look at it 200 years from now, it's not going to stand out in the way that, you know, 808s or Yeezus stands out and completely can push or redefine or make people say, you know, hey, I completely hate that or I completely love that, but let me just think differently, because everybody is like bound to these, you know, no pun intended, they're bound to 16 bars and 8 bars and, you know, the normal radio, the radio thing. I was talking to Frank Ocean about this and said, like, you know, my mom got arrested for the sit-ins, and now we're more like the sit-outs, like sit off of radio, and say, hey, radio, come to us. You know, we need to find something new because it's being, you know, controlled in a way and manufactured in a way that, you know, really awesome, you know, artists, you know, can make amazing music and not break as far past as like something that's very like formulaic.
So it almost feels like a duty to you in a weird way, having the people's ear, having people's attention, and for great music to be able to say, well, if I'm not challenging them, if I'm not challenging myself, not challenging radio, what am I doing?
Yeah, well, I'm not trying to regurgitate myself. I showed people that I understand how to make perfect. You know, dark fantasy could be considered to be perfect. You know, I say I know how to make perfect, but that's not what I'm here to do. I'm here to crack the pavement and make new grounds, you know, sonically and society, culturally.
You've done that with Yeezus. I mean, it's fascinating for us to sit here and talk about this record now, because normally when I talk to artists about records of this nature, it's in the lead up to something. So we're all kind of playing a guessing game. You know what I mean? You could tell me what you think of the record, but I'm sort of trying to find my way around it. The audience probably won't have heard it. In this case, it's been out for a minute, so we can reflect on it with the benefit of hindsight too. You've seen what everyone else has had to say about this record, both good and bad, but I'm fascinated to know today how you would describe Yeezus as someone who made it, how you would describe that record, you know?
I just think that I'm a production person. I'm a product guy. I'm a producer. So if I'm working on a John Legend album, I'm going to try to give John Legend the best, you know, home for him to stay in. And I'm going to try to push Pusha T, no pun intended once again, this just keeps happening to me, to make the thing that represents what I like about his music the most. And then for me, as Kanye West, I got to fuck shit up.
And you did, dude. Yeah, seriously, from the minute it starts, I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
It's disgusting. You know, so you're up in the loft probably at this point, and you're kicking around ideas, and you're putting things together, and this sound comes into your head, and you're like, this is what I'm looking for. This is
me going to the studio with Toma and G-Man, and them like, who's Daft Punk? and they had a synthesizer like the size of that wall right there, and like this is just one session right here, and this beat originally was like 14 minutes long, and that part in the beginning was something we completely just distorted it,
Yeah.
and I ended up making that the intro.
You know, I got beef with you over this track. It's too short. I wanted more out of it.
Yeah.
You know, because it's one of the best beats on the record for me, and you know, it just feels like you're just getting warmed up. Was that kind of deliberate? You know, to pull back after only a couple of verses and go, you know what, we're gonna get on with the album now.
No, it's just what I felt like it should be.
Yeah. Just had done its thing.
And you know, like originally, Blood on the Leaves was supposed to be first.
Wow.
And which psychologically I know would have changed certain Jesus naysayers about the album, but it wasn't that time for me. I didn't want to come up there and perform. A lot of times music can be presented as, you know, like a service position, but I wanted to take a more aggressive approach with music. You know, people go on a vacation and say, you got the drugs, you got the music, you know, you got the wine, you got the, you know, it's like, it's in that territory, you know what I'm saying? But I wanted to speak up and say, okay, so my voice is only compressed to express myself artistically through music. It's the only place where I actually have a deal. You know, so I can only consistently make things in music. So I'm gonna take music and I'm gonna try to make it three-dimensional, like on Star Wars, and the hologram will pop up out of R2-D2. I'm gonna try to make something that jumps up and affects you in a good or bad way.
Yeah.
Whether it's I'm going into a scream in the middle of the track because that's just the way I feel.
Yeah.
But I'm not here to make easy listening, you know, easy programmable music.
No, you're so off the reservation on this album in the best possible way.
Yeah.
I mean, like you talked about, the way that you use your voice in different ways. You know, you don't rely on conventional rhyming flows. Your flows. I mean, the opening line, "Years' season approaching." You know, a monster's awoken. Like, you know, you're laying it out there. This isn't my, you know, beautiful dark twisted fantasy part 2. You know, I'm wiling out on this record straight away.
Yeah.
And then from nowhere as well, we just get treated to these wonderful moments where, like you say, it's almost like a collage. Like you're sitting here going, you know what, why can't I go into this? Why not?
Yeah, you can.
You
That's
can.
how
Well,
life
you
is.
did. Yeah, it's true.
It's
It
like
is.
a car crash. You can just be driving
Out
and
of
bam,
nowhere.
and just out of nowhere that happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, at what point did that kind of very deliberate feel to the record, whereby breaks come in and join these really discordant electronic moments, and everything seems to exist in this kind of very contradictory, but it works kind of way? At what point did that start to take shape? Because it is very, you know, omnipresent through the record as a whole, the way it flips between one and the other. Was that in your head early on, or did that come towards the end when you started to reduce the record?
Well, I didn't reduce it. Rick Rubin
produced it.
Reduced it. He's not a producer. He's a reducer.
Nice.
But yeah, I
Was it always part of the process though for you, like to say, why don't I take elements of this and just bolt it together?
Yeah, it's just the way I was consuming information in my life at that time. You know, information from, you know, whatever, negative information or positive information from the internet. Me, you know, just going to the Louvre, you know, and going to furniture exhibits and understanding that, trying to open up and do interviews with this, learning more about architecture, taking 1,000 meetings, attempting to get like backing to do clothing and different things like that, and like getting no headway whatsoever, you know, because, you know, and it was just that level of frustration, and that's what, you know, this is what frustration fucking sounds like.
Yeah.
This is what frustration sounds like. Like for me, as Kanye West, I would not be Kanye West if it wasn't for Michael Jackson. I was with Quincy Jones a couple of days ago at John Legend's wedding. Quincy was telling me it wasn't just Mike, but these guys broke down, you know, the barriers. You know, of course, you know, like Michael Jackson, like he had to fight to get his video played because he was black. This is Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson's not even black. He's Michael Jackson. You know what I mean? It's like you know, like saying he's so crazy, like how can he even be just classified as like, you know, this black artist? So for me, you know, in my life and creativity, it's been challenging. Yeah, it's been challenging and everything, but I was able to ascend to massive levels of heights and never stop, right? Because of the foundation that my mother and my father and my grandfather laid through civil rights, what Michael Jackson did with with music videos and the ground he broke. There would be no Kanye West if it wasn't for Michael Jackson. That allowed him to be that, right?
Yeah.
So now let's take like where there's, people who have, issues with me as Kanye West. So they say, why is they classify, my motivational speeches as like rants and things like this. Like, why is he saying that? Why is he doing that? Blah, blah, blah. Well, I've reached a point in my life where my Truman Show boat has hit the painting. And I've got to a point that Michael Jackson did not break down. I have reached the glass ceiling as a creative person, as a celebrity. When I say that, it means I want to do product. I am a product person, not just clothing, but water bottle design, architecture, everything, that you could, think about. And I've been at it for 10 years. And I look around, I say, wait a second, there's no one around here in this space that looks like me. And if they are, they're quiet as fuck. So that means, wait a second. Now we're seriously like in a civil rights movement. Like people used to joke about, do you remember our South Park photo?
Yeah, I do.
Remember how funny that was? Do you think there would be a Givenchy in the hood if it wasn't for that South Park photo?
Yeah.
But no one thinks about that. No one thinks about the names I got called for like wearing tight jeans.
You reference that in the record. You talk about that. No one's liked him since you've been wearing tight jeans.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that you brought back real rap. I mean, you referenced that in the record.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, I had all that, but I bought real rap back. I'm going to do dope things, and I want to take this opportunity to speak to something because I go to Hypebeast, right? Sometimes just to look at the new things that are coming out and everything. And every time my name goes up, there's a series of, people who like write just negative comments. They want to joke around and say, why is he still trying? Why is he doing this? Why is he, they like diss me, me as a person for trying. Now, mind you, I brought 10 years of product that is added to humanity.
Yeah.
And now what they don't realize when I say, hey, this is Pusha T, this is what it is, I have to remind Pusha T that he's Pusha T because the radio, if they're not playing a song of his that has an R&B hook on it or works at a certain level of trap tempo and plays in Club Live, it's like we forget about that Clips album that meant everything.
Yeah.
And the reason why I related that to design and what we do in design is saying that's the music that us as creatives that wanted to get into design, we looked at Clips as the gods. And this is our soundtrack to creativity. And it's not a trap beat that comes in on that soundtrack to creativity.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's not no knock to trap because, I did Can't Tell Me Nothing. I like it. But it's been commercialized to the point where it's like, and I'm not mentioning no names, but what when people used to use the term R&B nigga, right? People used to use the term, but then it was rappers. But then rappers didn't want to be no R&B nigga. Now the rappers is the new R&B niggas. The rappers the new radio. Like, where's the culture at?
Yeah.
Where is the culture at? So then I scream and I'm sitting in the middle of it. Whether I'm at a dinner with Anna Wintour or, I'm at a listening session with Pusha or me and Virgil are in Rome giving designs to Fendi over and over and getting our designs knocked down, brought the leather jogging pants 6 years ago to Fendi, and they said no. How many motherfuckers you done seen with a leather jogging pant?
Yeah, okay.
Meaning like, so when I see Hedy Slimane, and it's all like, okay, this is my take on the world. Yeah, he got some nice $5,000 jeans in there. It's some nice ones here and there, some good shit here and there. But we culture. Rap the new rock and roll. We culture. Rap is the new rock and roll. We the rock stars.
It's been like that now for a minute.
It's been like that for a minute, Hedy Slimane. It's been like that for a minute. And we the real rock stars, and I'm the biggest of all of them.